Officer, yeah, there you go. With the staff at Union Parish, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Officer Michael Kesey. Union Parish
Thank
Detective.
you. Thank you, Officer Casey. Will you be in the room with the offender?
Yes.
Okay, great. Would the offender please state his name and his VOC identification number?
Michael Burden, DOC number 615-618.
Thank you, Mr. Burden. My name is Alvin Roche, and to my left is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. We'll verify that information, and then at the proper time, we'll give the officer a chance to make some comments.
All right.
After the comments, we will allow you to make a brief statement on your behalf. Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Burden, you are a second felony offender. Your offenses are in St. Mary Parish, possession with the intent to distribute cocaine, St. Mary Parish, molestation of a juvenile, was sentenced in docket number 190287, which is the possession of with intent to distribute cocaine on September 9th, 2013, and you were revoked on October 10th, 2017. In docket number 196-460, the molestation of a juvenile, you were sentenced on June 19th, 2017. For the drug offense, you received a 8-year sentence. It was suspended and 4 years active supervised probation. You were revoked in October of 2017. And on the sex offense, you received 20 years at hard labor, suspended all but 10, and then you had a 5-year active supervised probation upon release. So your total sentence is 10 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date was July 14, 2020. You're not eligible for good time, and your full-term date, July 14, 2025. Is this information correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you please answer Mrs. Jackson's question?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
How you
Mr.
doing?
Burden. How old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
And in July, you would have served 8 years on this charge.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You were revoked on the cocaine charge as a result of the molestation charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Help me and my fellow board members understand how it is you could be living with this woman, purporting to be her significant other, and yet be having sexual intercourse with her teenage daughter. Explain to me how a person does that.
Ma'am, in my case, ma'am, it just was a mistake, a really mistake I really regret I made, ma'am.
No. Yeah, it's a mistake. I don't need you to tell me that. But what kind of person is living with this woman, living off of her, I suspect, and then having sex with her child? I mean, what kind of person in your mind does that?
An animal. Um, um,
And you impregnated that child,
yes, ma'am.
and she gave birth to a child a few months later.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the rest of her life, she's not going to be able to put this behind her because she has that baby as a constant reminder of what happened to her. So how do you feel about that?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for what I did. And if I could get a chance, I'll apologize to her. I'm really sorry for what I did.
That's not to apologize to her?
I
Then why
can't-
would why do you think apologizing to her would mean anything to her?
I just hope she forgive me for what I did.
Why? Why should she?
Mhm. Mhm.
Let me ask you this. Have you taken sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
How many phases?
4.
When did you complete the fourth phase?
2022. I took it at in Minden.
Okay. Because I was only showing phase 1 and phase 2 ago. Programs, because like I said, I was only in your prison record, we're only showing that you've done phases 1 and 2.
And I did 1, 2, 3, and 4, ma'am. Mr. Johnson was my teacher.
I'm looking at your Department of Correction program in 2022.
Mhm.
You completed sex offender 1 and 2. And then you were in the Steve Hoyle substance abuse program.
Yes, ma'am.
But can anybody in the room? No, got it. I don't see that.
I got the certificate in my locker with 1, 2, 3, 4 on it, ma'am.
Okay, well, the record doesn't reflect that.
Mhm.
What about the Steve Hoyle substance abuse program?
I took the math class. I took that's the I took the drug one too. Mhm.
Let's go back to the sex offender treatment. What'd you learn, and what was the biggest thing you learned in the sex offender treatment program?
I learned my zones, like the low zone, the high zone, and the moderate zone, so where I'm supposed to be and where I'm supposed to be at. And I learned justified and blame and deny and all that. And
And what'd you learn about that? Justifying, blaming, and denying. What'd you learn
that
about that?
I learned I won't have to I have to be responsible for my own actions and stop denying, blaming other people for my actions and take responsibility for my wrongdoing.
And had you been blaming and denying before?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Mhm.
And I'm sure there was a discussion of the impact of your crime on your victim.
Yes, ma'am.
You have opposition from the sentencing judge, the DA, the sheriff's office, the victim's mother, and she chose not to comment, but she indicated that she was requesting restitution for all the mental health expenses that she's had to incur. So obviously, this was a very traumatic experience for her. I'm sure it put a strain on her relationship with her mom. I mean, this was just a terrible thing to do, Ms. Burke. It's terrible. So I show that you did phase 1 of substance abuse treatment at Steve Hoyle.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your substance abuse issue?
Alcohol, and I used to drink a lot, and that was it.
And what you get out of the Steve Hoyle program?
I got a lot of things out of that. I have to be accountable for my actions and other people feelings too. And I have this, I have to be a better person. And
What did you learn about dealing with your drinking issue?
that it's I have to stop drinking because either I just have.
How? Okay. People don't just stop drinking. Sometimes just a rare person does,
Mhm.
but you don't just stop drinking. So what did they teach you about how not to go back to alcohol?
I have to find another way to deal with my depression and my drinking. I just got to stop, focus on something else than the drink. And I've been sober for 8 years since I've been here, and I'm not going back to that.
If I had $1 for everybody that said that and then turned around and went right back out there to the same things, I'd hire a second time. When people say that and they mean it when they say it, but unless they have the tools and the determination to stay clean, their intentions usually fall by the wayside. And my concern is whether or not you have tools to address your problems. How many write-ups have you had in the last 8.5, 9 years?
I can't hear you, man. What you said?
Write-ups have you had
None,
last 8 or 9 years?
none,
None?
none. And right now, I'm a trustee. I'm the head cook in the kitchen right now. I've been trustee. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been a trustee?
Over here, I've been a trustee for like 3 months. Jonesboro, I've been a trustee for 2 years.
And you were a cook?
Yeah, I'm a cook right now. Yeah,
What were you in Jonesboro?
I was in Jonesboro from 19 to 20.
What was your job over there?
It was the head cook too. I was a head cook. I was a head cook. I was a GI, and I was a nighttime laundryman.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have a GED,
No, ma'am.
high school diploma?
I quit in the 11th grade. Mm-mm.
So why should we consider letting you out early? Your full-term date, a little over 2 years from now. Why should we let you out early?
Because I did change my life, and I'm more responsible for my own actions right now, and I learned that I have to take be myself and stop doing other crazy stuff, and you take care of my mother because she getting pretty old right now. So mm, mm, that's all, man.
So what would your transition plan be if you were to be successful? Where would you live? Where would you work?
I would live back with my mother, and I would go back to my job at the sugarcane plant. I've been there 22 years, and me and my boss, he'll hire me back because we was cool and take care of my mother.
And where is this?
This is Franklin, Louisiana.
And do you
St.
know,
Mary Parish.
do you know if the victim still lives in that area?
I ain't have no contact. I don't know where the victim at. Ma'am. The only one I've been talking to is my mother and my older kids.
How many kids do you have?
I got three with the little one. I got a 126, I got 121, and I got 123.
Okay. And where are they?
They're around. They stay down the street from Shelton. It's a place called Shelton. They stay around it in Shelton. It's about like 30 miles away from me, from my mama house.
Have you had any contact with them over the last 8 years?
Yes, they call me. They call me and talk to me. My oldest son, he moved to Kansas City, but the two girls, they still down here. They work at the casino and stuff.
They would visit you?
They visited me one time, and when I first came, I was in Faraday. They came visit me one time.
When was the last time you talked to this boss?
My boss, it's been a while. It's been a while since last time I talked to him. When I was in a parish jail. Still
Well,
doing.
Well, I mean, you know, the economy has changed, the world has changed, that job might not be available anymore. You might not need anybody anymore. So how are you gonna take care of yourself? You don't have any real job skills. I know you cook.
I'm a forklift job operator, and I'm a welder too.
Then when did you get those skills?
I got those skills when I was in the world. Ben had them. You know, I learned them at my job.
All right, and there's no, the deputy's not in the room with you.
He's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Deputy.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
And what can you tell us about Mr. Burden?
Okay, Captain Banks, she gave me a presentation to say, Captain Banks says Michael Burton has not been any trouble since he's been here. He's a kitchen trustee, and she feels if he is granted parole, he will do the right things.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have, Mr.
Mr. Freeman? Mr. Burden,
Yes, sir.
your criminal record starts at 207. Domestic abuse battery, and you pled guilty to simple battery, and you were given 90 days suspended and a 1-year supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Why did it take you 3 years to complete that supervision and you completed it unsatisfactory?
I can't hear you. What you say, sir?
In 2007,
Mm-hmm.
you pled guilty to simple battery and you were arrested for domestic abuse battery.
Yes, sir.
You received a 90-day sentence
Mm-hmm.
and 1-year active probation.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take you 3 years to complete it and it was terminated unsatisfactory?
I don't know, sir. I don't know. Mhm.
Then, when you committed this crime, molestation of a juvenile, you were on supervision for the drug charges and you were revoked.
Yes, sir.
So each and every time that you're on supervision, you had a negative result. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So why should I put your supervision in here?
Because I'm a changed man now, sir, and being in here for 8 years, it really, I'm not gonna do no more crime. No more.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Would you give us a closing statement?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, I just thank y'all for having this parole hearing for me, and that's all I have to say, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Burden. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, Mr. Burden, you know, this was a really terrible crime. It's had some really serious consequences for a lot of people. But you have had a fairly decent institutional record. You served 80% of the 10-year portion of the sentence. And I also take into consideration that when you get out, you're gonna still be on, not only, you'll be on probation because you have another 10 years hanging over your head. Being in prison for 8 years and knowing that you can come back for another 10 years isn't enough to keep you straight, then I guess there's nothing that will. But because it's a split sentence, you'll be out under supervision. And because you've had a good disciplinary record, my vote today would be to grant. But I'm just one vote.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Burden, I was gonna say pretty much exactly what Ms. Jackson said. I'm gonna vote to grant. You're to abide by all the conditions of the sex offender contract, have no contact whatsoever with victim, and show up immediately to probation and parole to get signed up and get a drug abuse evaluation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Burden, you have received 2 votes to grant your request. My vote is based on your parole supervision history. You've never had a successful supervision period. You've lived in St. Mary's Parish all of your life. And the person that knows you best is the judge. And very rarely we get a judge who sent a statement in, say that he is strongly opposed. The DA office is opposed. Law enforcement is opposed. For those reasons, my vote is to deny your request. Based upon you being a sex offender, based on you not having a GED, your request for early release has been denied. You have a good day.
All right. Thank you, sir.
That concludes our business at Union Parish and the business for the day. We're gonna stand adjourned at 3:25 p.m. Thank you, Union.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Shea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is it? What is it that Miss Jackson would actually say that? You know, she really was on just like on fire at the beginning of the interview. What kind of person does it? He says an animal. No, sir. We call what we call people who do that to children, we call them cockroaches. And even then we get flack that how can we degrade a cockroach that even has a purpose and does what it's created to do to someone who would do that to a child. Miss Jackson was right. Why should she forgive you? You know, we're sick of hearing these predators say, I beg that they forgive me. I hope they find in their hearts that they forgive me. It was so refreshing to hear Miss Jackson say, why should she forgive you? But then to vote in her favor, he's not getting out. Mr. O'Shea shut it down. Because he's a sex offender, he needs all 3 votes. It's something that is helpful. And he also needs a GED. Hey, I guess what? A GED could come in handy, huh? I don't understand her logic too, which was, well, you have the 10-year suspended sentence hanging over your head. So if that won't keep you out, then what will? But he like Mr. O'Shea said, he had been revoked. He was on supervision when he then did this and got revoked. I don't know how many years it was that he had to go back. And then he had 1 year suspended supervision, which somehow ended up being 3 years, which he didn't finish satisfactory. And when the question to him was why, he's like, I don't know. Like another class. Okay. Well, here's you know, the judge, he said he was opposed. Thank you. The DA said they were opposed. But look at let's go unpack the two-facedness, the hypocrisy, the frankly BS of those statements. One, you're opposed, so where the hell are you? Why are you not in this room sharing, protect the victims, huh? To make sure that they stay inside, to make sure the board knows to keep you inside. And then 2, here's the big one, is why was that the best deal why was that the deal that you would give? 10 years locked up, 10 years suspended sentence? Why? Why did you not throw the book at this man? Why do you not throw the habitual offender why do you not give him the maximum penalty? We have seen cases where they will say, look, we can't go to trial. We can't go to trial. And I've seen this, and I'm going to publish this on my other channel of a court hearing that went to trial where stepdad was doing this to the girl, and then they showed up in court, and things go wrong in trials. One is they want to protect the victim. If the victim doesn't want to get up on the stand, that can be a reason enough not to have the trial. 2 is that it's so easy to have a mistrial. A witness can say the wrong thing, and now, boom, it's a mistrial. You got to start all over again. So for those reasons, they say, you know what, we'll just do a plea deal, whether it's right or wrong, but at least there's a package around the argument that the district attorney will say why they're doing a plea deal. But give me one reason why you'll give a plea deal here. Who needs to take the stand? You think the victim needs to take the stand? Is there something in law I don't know about? Can the victim be forced to take the stand? Or could you not just play hardball and say, we have a baby? There is no scientific doubt who the father of this baby is. Here is all the evidence that anyone needs. It's right here. It's better than a videotape confession. It's better than 100 eyewitnesses. It's DNA. It's science. What kind of DA says to his public defender, you know what? You're holding some cards here, so let's just do a 10-year sentence and the other 10 suspended. Pat on the back. We're protecting our children. We're protecting this girl who was impregnated by the man who's supposed to be her father. her father figure. Explain it to me. Why are you not throwing the book at him? Why are you agreeing to 10 years? We had recently another case where a mother came on and said, if you can keep him locked up for 2 months, that's 2 months, and we know that other children are going to be protected. At least give us 2 months. Well, here you could say, at least give us 10 years. Anyone with some common sense would have similar outrage at the system. You can have outrage for the cockroach, for the abuser, for the manipulator who comes into someone's home just so that he can impregnate a child. He's got a rap sheet this long. He's been in and out of prison. He's being revoked. 10 years. What? And don't say, oh, the laws are changed or this or that. We just saw someone who in like 2017, after serving something like 10 years for breaking into 2 cars, they then slapped on an habitual offender and he's got a life sentence. I'm not joking. It's a true story. If you've seen it here, it's real. Maybe I'll put the link in the description. They have the ability to do these things. But no, if you're hurting children, get out. You can even get out 2 years early. What is, you just like, you know, if I didn't have this venue to scream into YouTube abyss and then to have you comment and share your feelings with me, I wouldn't be able to watch these. If I didn't have the community that we can all vent together, I don't think a lot of us could watch these because it's too painful. It's too frustrating. It's the Twilight Zone. It's this world where everything is upside down. I can't imagine a scenario where I would have a conversation with the DA, where we could have a conversation with the DA or the powers that be, the judge, that somehow made this deal and thought it was a good deal. I don't buy it. There's nothing you can tell me that would make me say, you know what, I understand that. Is it possible that the defense attorney would have a right to subpoena the underage victim and then she would have to show up and the victim said, no, I just don't want to do it? I don't know enough about law to know if that's something that for sure would happen. If you can comment, please do. But even in that case, I would argue that the DA was holding so many cards that they should be better poker players. You have the royal flush. When you have the royal flush, you go all in. You take no prisoners. You don't fold over like a house of cards to that. Where's your dignity? Where's your pride? Where's the reason that you got into what you do as someone who is to protect, to serve your community? How do you sleep at night? He's going to be free in 2 years. He's going to be free in 2 years. I guess the only thing that we can hope for is that with his record, with his track record, with everything he's done, yeah, he'll probably be locked back up and have to serve out another 10 years. We can only hope that what he doesn't do is hurt a child. We have to hope that it would be just something else. Think about this. If she didn't get pregnant, he would not have gotten caught. Just think about that. Someone who is brazen enough to be doing this with what's supposed to be his girlfriends, who he's living with, as Miss Jackson said, probably being supported by, he's in their house. Someone who would do that, they're not afraid. You don't think he's doing it at any opportunity, any child he sees? This is someone who's yeah. Well, something that I've learned from watching all of these is that these people are voted into office, and we have to pay attention to who they are, what their track record is, and hold them accountable. And it's hard work. There's no real solution to it. It's like, how do you get involved? How do you get involved in the community? How do you know what someone's record is? It's not, it's hard enough to get people to vote for the presidential elections or the governor election or even your mayor, but then it goes down and down the ladder, and it's a hard thing. It's a hard problem to solve, but that's probably the best way to solve it, is to start holding these elected officials accountable and make them pay at the ballot box. But anyways, with that, I'm going to let you go.